In no way is any information and or style of life coaching meant to interfere or harm anyone. I am a licensed and ordained minister and a certified life coach. Please do not be offended by any advice given. This is solely to help those who are going through similar situations. Hello, Village, and welcome to the first episode of Ask Twana. Of course, it's me, Twana Yvette, and today I am going to come to you with a couple of scenarios. I have gotten letters, answers, topics that are really similar from different people, and I want to make sure that I don't really repeat myself or reiterate myself. So for the first few weeks, I'm going to try to put them together, everything that's similar, so that I can cover, a lot of ground. Keep those letters coming in, keep those emails coming in, all of your questions, comments, and concerns, and let's get started. You can be free, so free. Okay, so the first couple of letters that I got via email were, of course, concerning relationships being a really big topic. And it's something that I know a little bit about. So basically, I've got a couple of people who shall remain nameless. They want to remain anonymous, and they are asking about abusive relationships. I think that it's leading up to abuse. What should I do? I got a lot of detail in one letter, but not so much in another. He's yelling obsessively. In one instance, he's coming home and she can't tell if he's been drinking or if he's on drugs. There's a lot of different scenarios that, we could compile, in here with this information. But asking me, what would I do? I've been in several abusive relationships before because, number one, that's what I attracted. I attracted people who were abusive because I grew up in an abusive home. My biological father, no matter how much you love somebody, it's not going to change who they are. The person has to change who they are, and they have to want to change. So who you attract means that there's something inside of you that you're attracting. So for me, it was, let me look on the inside and see what this is so that I can get rid of it. And in the meantime, I don't need to be in any relationships. However, you guys are already married. You're already in the relationship. The relationship has been going on for some years. And all of a sudden, you see a change in this person's character. His lifestyle is changing. That's a red flag. That's a huge alert. And sometimes the topic or the subject for that person may be touchy. If it were me, I would definitely try to approach it sensibly, like, asking if there's anything wrong at work. If your husband is older and maybe he's retired, I would definitely, see if there's anything he wants to do. Are you trying to travel? Do you want to go fishing on the lake? Is it me? Is it something that I'm doing that's kind of getting on your nerves? If this escalates, stop that type of communication altogether, which asking questions and listening for the answer is correct communication. It may lead to an argument, and it's not your fault. If something is getting on somebody's nerves and they don't want to talk about it, they're not going to talk about it. And of course, in a Christian relationship, we're always going to tell you to pray and ask God, to direct you. But in a physical sense, you also want to protect yourself. In one relationship, there is a child. In the other one, there is not. So for the relationship that's for the sake of the child, watch his mood. If he's having mood swings, if he's getting closer and closer to he's about to hit you, you want to seek refuge somewhere else. But you can't do it to where he's aware of it, especially people who are emotionally abusive if he tells you nobody else is going to want you, if he's saying things like, I can't stand you, and if I can't stand you, nobody else is. He really is dependent upon you. It doesn't sound like it, but trust me, that man or the woman, depending on your situation, is dependent upon you. And what they're looking for is validation that you're not going anywhere. However, they don't understand that this is abuse. It's a form of abuse. And even though they need something, they're hurting the person that they need that something from. And it's more important for you to understand that even though that person has a need, I have a need too, and I need to go. Don't allow yourself to be spoken to any type of way. We have to teach people how to treat us. And if we start accepting nonsense, that's going to be the norm. You're setting the tone for your life. So let's cut that from, the bud. No cursing at me, no yelling at me. If you continue to do this, I'm going to have to leave because that's hurtful to me. Normally, when you start a conversation like that or you go into it, no matter how nice you are, they're going to say, well, let me tell you what gets on my nerves that you do. That may be an indication that these things, really do get on their nerves, or there's something else, in the undercurrent. You can't really be too careful. Another thing that I would advise you to do is seek counseling. See if your spouse will go to counseling. And even though spiritual counseling is awesome, so is, a regular secular counselor. I have a counselor of my own. My therapist is awesome. It's a lady, and she, was my counselor during marriage, before and after, and I love her dearly. She actually counseled my mom when my mom was going through anxiety, which is something else that could be an issue for you, him, or the both of you. Is, you're having anxiety attacks, and that's really getting on your nerves, and you don't know, how to stop it. You think that you're dying, you get hard of breathing. And right now, our world is going through something crazy. And that's getting on, a lot of people's nerves. Now, let me tell you something. I'm going to give you a bit of advice that may help some people, but only you know your spouse, right? And that is when you begin to open up to your spouse and tell your spouse what's troubling you or what you're afraid of or what you're nervous about, they tend to open up as well in a good way instead of a bad way. However, this also could backfire depending upon, like one of my subscribers said, I don't know if he's on drugs or not. Some drugs are, you can't detect them. I had an uncle that used to say, if you drink brown liquor, that makes you mad. I don't know how true that is because I've never, drank any brown liquor. But you know what I'm saying? Just that may be a thing. Only you know your spouse. And so I want to give you as many tips that I can so that you'll know which road to take. Should I do this or should I do that? And as stated in my disclaimer, I'm a Christian, and I'm not here to offend anybody. I'm just giving advice from what I've went through personally and as a professional life coach and a licensed and ordained minister. So I hope that this helps. I will tell you guys, since this is the first episode, I know you guys don't know this, but whether you're a village member or not, I'm here for you. And I do give a bit more advice via email and snail mail if you choose to write me a letter than I do here on the internet, just for safety and privacy protection. I don't want to give away too much information. I don't want to slip up and tell anybody's, personal information that may give anybody else a clue. But what I will do is say that a lot of these people are struggling with the same things. And that's important to me. And I know it's important to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be reaching out to me. So when you're in a situation like this, you definitely want to keep the lines of communication open. But you also want to be very watchful. Always protect your children at all costs. And by all means, If both spouses, both parties are acceptable to it, try to seek counseling, whether it's, professional or by a minister or a pastor. I think that counseling is, so good. But, if you can, try to do this without counseling, and your spouse is really open and you guys can really have a good dialogue, it may be a situation that can be tackled at home. But rest assured that if you do seek professional advice, those counselors and ministers, we take an oath not to tell anybody anything unless it's harmful, such as suicide, or somebody who thinks they're gonna, kill somebody, or, you think you're gonna harm somebody in any way, including yourself. That's when it becomes a sticky situation. But, every professional takes an oath not to, tell your business to anybody. It's unethical. So you're in a safe place. You're in a safe haven. So I hope that this helps. I really do. I wish you all the best, and I am praying for you. Everybody that sends me a letter, sends me an email, you know that you're in my prayers. So thank you so much for tuning in for this episode. I will be back with another, and I'll always let you know what's coming up on my community tab. So stay blessed, you guys, and I can't wait to talk to you again. Until next time, bye for now. I love you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.